What is going on, guys? It is Panjno here, and today I'm going to bring you guys the 2020 Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for CSGO. This video will be aiming to help you guys achieve the very best FPS possible on your machines regardless of your system specs, allowing you guys to achieve the very best FPS, to reduce stuttering, reducing frame times, input latency, and overall making your game feel a lot more snappier and responsive, alongside offering a significant FPS increase. If you guys do enjoy this video and are happy with the results of this video, please do consider pressing the like button, and alongside leaving any results, questions, queries, or suggestions, or any other FPS techniques in which you might have experimented around with which you think could be useful to other people in the comment section down below, as it's always fantastic to hear from you guys and see a discussion going on down in the comments below. Alongside that, if you guys do like my content, please do consider pressing the subscription button and the bell notification to be notified instantly whenever I upload, whether that be brand new content, community suggested content, or updates to previous guides. You'll be notified instantly of whenever any of those are uploaded with the bell notification. Now, before we start off with any of the optimizations inside of this video, it's important that we're running on the latest Windows 10 update for any of you Windows 10 users out there, as the current update, which most of you guys are more than likely running on at the time of watching this video, is actually outdated, and 1909 and newer will actually perform better than previous updates. To see which version of Windows 10 you're on and to see if there is an update available, which is completely free, easy, and fast to download, simply take yourself into the bottom left hand side, type in WinVer just like so, and click on the command. Inside of here, scroll up to the top and you're looking for Microsoft Windows version 1909 or newer. If you guys are running on an older version of Windows, whether that be 1903 or older, simply go ahead and press OK. Go into the description down below and you'll see a Windows Update link. Click on the Windows Update link, you'll then be brought to this page found here. Go to the Update Now utility, download the update installer, it'll update your version of Windows, restart, and get you up and running on the latest version. Alongside that, it's also recommended before continuing on with this video to actually reinstall CSGO completely by going over to Steam, right-clicking on the game, going to Properties, going to Local Files, and uninstalling the game. You should also delete any of your old config files, especially for you guys who have had CSGO installed to the same PC under the same installation for a number of months or if not even years, as there is many excess files in there which are no longer being used, which can be taking up storage space and also conflicting with newer files inside of the game, overall slowing down performance. So kicking off with the brand new 2020 optimizations is one important thing we need to do to ensure that we can follow along with this video safely, easily, and giving you guys the option to revert all of these changes back if you wish to do so at any time. To do this, we're going to be setting up a quick system restore point in which everyone can set up. It takes a matter of seconds, and it's incredibly important and recommended that you do this before continuing on with the video. So to set up a system restore point, take yourself to the bottom left hand side, type in system space restore just like so, and go to where it says create a restore point. Inside of here, go to the system protection tab at the top. Navigate down to your C drive, which is typically titled local disk or system. Once you guys have clicked on the C drive, make sure that protection is turned on. If protection isn't on, highlight the drive, press configure, go to turn on system protection at the top, go to the maximum usage, set it to either 5% or 1%, press apply, press OK. Once you guys have done that, highlight the drive once again, this time go to the bottom right hand side and click on the create key. With inside of here, simply title the system restore point something you might remember. So for me, I'm going to be titling this CS20 and press create. After a few short moments, the system restore point will be created, and from here on out we can restore Windows back to this restore point at any time after the video, reverting all of these optimizations. Once you guys have done that, go ahead and press OK and we can continue on with the FPS increase guide. To kick things off, what we're going to be doing is navigating into the description down below and you'll be finding two download links. Whether you guys have seen any of my content before, including my previous CSGO videos, or if this is the first time watching any of my content, it is essential that you download the CSGO 20 FPS increase pack in the description down below to get the best results from this video. But inside of the FPS increase pack, it includes absolutely everything you'll need, including launch options, customized optimized configs for all system specs, and everything else we're going to be using and need to follow along with this guide in one convenient, safe, small package. Simply take yourself into the description down below, follow the top download link. If for some reason you're having any issues downloading the top download link, try out the second download link, download the file and place it onto your desktop. You'll then be given the file titled CSGO 20 FPS by Panjno. What we're then going to be doing is right clicking on the file and selecting the option for extract here. If you guys don't have the option for extract here, you'll need to take yourself back over to Google and either Google WinRAR or 7-zip, download one of the programs and install it to your machine, come back inside of this video, you'll then have the option to right click and extract here. Once you guys have extracted the folder, you'll be given a folder on your desktop with an identical name. To kick things off, what we're going to be doing is installing our CSGO 2020 launch options. To do this, what we're going to be doing is navigating into the FPS pack provided, going to the bottom to the launch options text document, double clicking, and simply what we're going to be doing inside of here is altering these slightly depending on your monitor's refresh rate. All you need to do is scroll up to the top to where it says dash frequency, and this number of 240 is what you're going to be setting to your monitor's refresh rate. Once you guys have done that, highlight all the way from the right hand side to the left hand side just like so, right click, copy, exit out, and hit save. What we're then going to do is navigate inside of Steam, go over to CSGO, right click, go to properties, go to set launch options. With inside of the launch options tab, if you have any launch options currently existing with inside of here, simply remove every single one of them by using the delete key and backspace. If the box is already blank for you, that's absolutely fine. Inside of the launch options box, simply then go ahead and right click, select paste, press OK, and the launch options have now been set. What we're also going to be doing is actually unchecking the option for use desktop game theater in Steam VR. We're also going to go down to the Steam input per setting, selecting this to forced off. Use BPM overlay is also going to be set to forced off as well. Assuming that we're still inside of the CSGO properties, this is a great opportunity to actually apply some EXE or application fix to the CSGO application itself. You may have already set these optimizations in place, but if you reinstalled the game recently alongside some of the game updates, these could have been reset back to the default value. So take yourself over to the local files tab, go to browse local files. With inside of the CSGO local files, we're then going to take ourselves down to the CSGO application found here. Right click on the application, go down to properties at the bottom, go to the compatibility tab found here at the top. Start off by selecting the option for disable full screen optimizations, go to change high DPI scaling override, and select this override just like so. Press OK, apply, and OK. Continuing on from there, what we can now go ahead and do is install our CSGO 2020 optimized config files for all system specs. To do this, what we're going to be doing is navigating inside of the FPS pack provided, go inside of the configs to install folder, and with inside of here, we met with the low end, medium end, recommended, and ultra low end configs. With inside of here, you then need to make the decision as to which config you're going to be installing. But for the best results for your system, it's best that you match the config folder with your system spec. So if you guys are running on a low end system, you'll find best results going with a low end config. Recommended is going to be a recommended value for most people that can play CSGO already, but you just wish to further optimize the game, and ultra low end is going to be for ultra low end PCs, laptops, and other ancient hardware. For me, I'm going to be installing the recommended config, as I'm already running on a relatively high-end gaming PC, but I want to optimize CSGO for the best FPS possible and the best competitive advantage. Once inside of the config folder you're going to be installing, you'll be met with an auto exec, config, and video text document. To install these, it's very simple and easy to do. What we're going to be doing is just dragging these off to the right-hand side, navigating into the bottom left-hand side, clicking on the Windows button, typing in this PC just like so, clicking on this PC, scrolling down and going to our local disk C drive. Once inside of the local disk C drive, go into program files x86, scroll onto the S section, find Steam, double click on Steam, scroll all the way down inside of the folders and look for the user data folder. Click on the user data folder. Once inside of the user data folder, you'll be met with all of the Steam profiles in which have been signed in with inside of this PC. For some of you guys, you might only be seeing one folder in here, you could be seeing the same amount as mine or even more. There's one thing for sure though, as all of your folders with inside of it will have different numbers to mine, as these numbers correspond to your profile's unique ID. To find out what your profile's unique ID is, to find out which one of these folders is your main profile if you have multiple like mine, what you'll need to do is actually navigate into Steam, go to your profile here at the top, go to inventory, navigate over to the right hand side to trade offers, scroll down and click on the option for who can send me trade offers. Scroll all the way down to the bottom to your trade URL and you'll notice that it says partner equals and you'll see a number found here. As you can see, my number is 967207773. So assuming that that's my profile's unique ID, I'm going to tab out, go inside of my user data folder, and there you go, 967207773. Once you guys have found your unique profile ID folder, click on the folder. Once you guys are inside of there, go inside of the 730 folder, go inside of local, CFG. What we're simply then going to go ahead and do is to navigate over to the right hand side to our optimized 2020 config folder, highlight all three of the configs we're going to be installing, drag them over into our user data profile CFG folder, and either replace the files with inside of this destination or drag them into the empty folder if you've already removed your old configs. Simply navigate inside of the FPS increase pack, navigate into the optimizations folder, and with inside of here we're going to start off with the CSGO EXE priority. This is a quick key which was included in my previous guide if you haven't seen that guide already, or if you're running on a newer update of Windows, in which most of you would have updated to since watching the last video if you did, or if this is your first time watching, make sure that you apply this optimization again to ensure that it's still running. Go inside of the CSGO EXE priority folder, you'll be met with three keys: CSGO above normal, high, and normal priority. For 99.9% of you guys watching this video, CSGO high priority will give you guys the best results. If for some reason you see an increase in stutter or some weird hitching issues, try normal priority afterwards to revert everything back. But for the majority of you guys watching this video, double clicking on CSGO high priority, select yes, yes, okay, and the optimization has been completed. This now brings us on to one of the most important FPS optimizations for significantly improving FPS regardless of your system specs. This is actually an optimization in which we need to apply to the game every single time we boot it, so if you can remember to do this, that would be absolutely fantastic, and you will be seeing FPS increases from doing so. So to apply this optimization, CSGO actually has to be running. So what we're going to do is navigate into Steam, go to our library, press play on CSGO, and boot into the game. Once you guys have booted into the main menu of the game and the game is running in the background, simply go ahead and tab out to your desktop. Once you guys are inside of the desktop and the game is running, take yourself to the bottom of the screen to your taskbar, right click and select Task Manager. With inside of here, take yourself over to the Process tab, scroll down and we're going to be looking for CSGO bracket 32-bit. With inside of here, go to the drop down menu, right click on CSGO, and we're going to be looking for the option to go to Details. Once you guys have clicked on Go to Details, you'll then be brought over to the Details tab, and CSGO should be highlighted. Right click on CSGO once again, go to the set affinity option, and with inside of it, this is incredibly important, go ahead and uncheck CPU 0. The reason we're going to be unchecking CPU 0 is many things such as your USB bus, PCI bus, and most small background processes with inside of Windows in which you can't stop, otherwise your PC wouldn't work, typically run on CPU 0 or CPU 1. So disabling the game from using CPU 0 means that the game isn't going to be utilizing that CPU core, which actually makes the game run, in my case on my high-end PC, around about 15 to 20% faster in terms of FPS. You may see varied results with this, but I've yet to test this on a PC which has had negative results, so always disable CPU 0 every time you boot into the game. Once you guys have got CPU 0 deselected, press OK, and we can then exit out of Task Manager. Make sure that you remember to set the affinity every single time you come into CSGO to play the game, as that will give you a guaranteed 5 to 25% FPS increase. This now brings us on to one of the most important optimizations with inside of this entire video. To apply these optimizations, what we're going to be doing is navigating into the FPS increase pack provided once again, navigating inside of the optimizations folder, and navigating into the reg optimization fixes folder. Inside of this folder, you'll be met with a ton of optimizations, and which are very easy to apply with a few clicks of a button. Now, before applying any of these optimizations, this is incredibly important that you are now running on a system restore point, which I recommended at the beginning of the video. The reason we're going to be doing that is to ensure that if for any reason your system doesn't like these optimization fixes, you can simply revert back with a few clicks of a button. It also means that you can safely come in here and test these out, see if they improve your system performance. If they don't, you can simply revert them easily with a few clicks of a button. So assuming that you're now running on a system restore point, what we're going to be doing is actually starting off with the disabled DVR1 optimization. To apply this optimization, double click on yes, yes, and OK. Once you guys have applied the first optimization, navigate down to the second optimization, once again, yes, yes, OK. Then navigating down to the full screen fix, so again, double click, yes, yes, OK. Then navigating to the game optimizations, yes, yes, OK. And then last but not least, you'll be left with low to medium end optimization and medium to high end optimization. Out of these two optimizations, you're only going to be selecting one of them, and for the best results, you wish to select the one which best matches your system specs. So if you're on an ultra low to medium end system, select the low to medium end. If you guys are on a medium end to ultra high end system, select medium to high. I'm going to be selecting medium to high, so again, double click, yes, yes, and OK. Now, for any reason, once again, if you wish to revert any of those changes we just made, you can either use the system restore point, or you can navigate into the default reg files to revert to stock folder found here. Enabling each and every one of these will revert all of those settings back to the stock value if you wish to turn them off. Continuing on with the drastic performance increases, we're actually going to be optimizing our graphics card settings towards gaming application performance. Now, before doing this, it's important that you guys are running on the latest GPU driver update, especially for you guys running on an AMD Radeon based graphics card. For both Nvidia and AMD Radeon users, these graphics card driver updates are completely free, easily accessible. To find out which GPU manufacturer you're running on, right click on your desktop and you'll either see the Nvidia control panel or the AMD Radeon settings panel. At that point, I'd recommend quickly rebooting Windows to ensure that you guys are running on the latest GPU driver properly, and continuing on with this guide. For the best basic GPU settings, you can find these by going inside of the FPS increase pack by double clicking, go inside of optimizations, and going over to the GPU settings folder found within inside of here. Within inside of here, you'll find 3 screenshots for AMD and 3 for Nvidia, and they'll show you guys all of the options in which you need to enable to get the best performance within inside of your graphics card. But for some bonus optimizations for any of you guys running on an Nvidia GeForce card, right click on your desktop, go to the Nvidia control panel. We're going to start off by going over to the top left hand side to manage 3D settings, and starting off with the image sharpening option. If you have this option within inside of here and you do see image sharpening, double click on the setting to access the drop down menu. I'd recommend then turning the setting to on, enabling GPU scaling if you have the option available to you, and copying these 2 settings found here. This will help the game look a lot sharper and crisper, especially if you guys wish to run on lower resolutions. Proceeding on from there, scroll all the way down to the bottom to the low latency mode and ensure that low latency mode is set to on. Once you guys have got those settings set up, navigate to the bottom right hand side to the apply button, select the apply button. Once you guys are done with inside of there, we can then go ahead and exit out of the Nvidia control panel. Continuing on from there, what we can now go ahead and do is actually boot into the game and completely customize our configs to ensure that all of our in-game settings are set up in terms of your in-game settings, view model, crosshair settings, and other settings in which you wish to customize. So we're ready to play the game at the end of this guide. Before we do this, what I recommend you guys go ahead and do is actually navigate into the description down below, and you'll find a link for this config generated by Crashes and Mysterio. This is one of the best community workshop maps in which you can access with inside of the game, which features a fantastic UI in which you can select everything off of the walls. You can automatically select and input pro player configs by shooting the wall, and it's a very simple, handy tool to have. All you need to do to get hold of this workshop map and install it to your CSGO is you need to navigate to the description down below, click on the link, scroll down to the subscribe button, and press subscribe. It should then say that you're subscribed, and the map will automatically be downloaded. And as you can see, it's only 22 megabytes, so it'll be pretty much instant. Once you guys have got the config generator installed, head over to library in the top left hand side, go to Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and hit play. Once you guys have booted into the game, first thing we're going to be doing is actually setting up our in-game video settings, and we can do this from the main menu. To do this, navigate over to the left hand side to the settings cog, navigate up to the video tab found here at the top, and we can start off by going over to the video options. If these options aren't available, it's because you're running in full screen windowed mode, and it's recommended that you switch this to full screen. We can start off by going over to your resolution. It's recommended that you set this to your native resolution, unless you're looking for a decent FPS bump. The lower the resolution you select with inside of here, the better FPS you'll be getting on the lower end systems. For you guys running on high end systems, going to a lower resolution typically won't boost FPS by that much, so I'd recommend setting this to any resolution in which you're currently comfortable with. Laptop power savings is going to be switched to disable. You can then start off by going over to the global shadow quality. See, the best settings in which you can set with inside of this are going to be the ones that match your system specs. If you're on a very low end system, go with very low. If you're on low, go with low. Medium end systems, go with medium, and high, go with high. You don't want to set global shadow quality to the lowest possible regardless of your system specs, as you want this setting to be as high as possible, as it does give you a slight advantage with peeking around corners and showing player models' shadows, allowing you sometimes to see people before they even turn around corners. So for me, I'm going to be setting this to high. Model/texture detail, I'd recommend setting to low for everyone. Effect detail, low for everyone. Shader detail can be set to low if you're looking for the best FPS possible, but if you like your scopes and your guns to look a bit shiny and stickers to look shiny with inside of the game, set this to high. Otherwise, if you want the best FPS, set this to low. Multi-core rendering should be enabled regardless of your system specs. Multi-sampling anti-aliasing mode, I like to turn this off as I don't mind the jagged edges and it gives you a decent FPS bump, so for me I'm recommending turning this off. FXAA anti-aliasing, this applies a slight blur, doesn't really affect FPS, it's personal preference, but I prefer disabled. Texture filtering mode, we're going to be setting this up to bilinear. Wait for vertical sync is going to be disabled, motion blur is going to be disabled, and triple monitor mode also disabled. Once you guys have got all of those settings applied, go down to the bottom right hand side and click apply changes. Your screen might flicker for a few moments and the game settings will then be set. This now brings us on to the audio tab. With inside of the audio tab, it's recommended that you come down to advanced 3D audio processing and actually turning this off regardless of your system specs, as this will slightly increase your FPS, but more importantly should help reduce any stuttering you're experiencing. Then navigating up to the game tab found here at the top, enable game instructor messages, I prefer to have this set to no. You can set your max ping for matchmaking here if you wish to do so. I'd recommend around about 90. Max acceptable game traffic bandwidth. For you guys running on decent connections, I'd go with unrestricted, as this will give you guys the best results. Enable developer console, set this to yes. And ignore all of the following team settings and communication settings, as these will be set up in the workshop map we downloaded earlier on. Last but not least, take yourself over to the keyboard mouse section, take yourself over to zoom sensitivity, and if you guys did back up your mouse sensitivity when I told you to do that earlier on in the video, input the mouse sensitivity you were previously using in now. Make sure that raw input is also switched on, and from there, you're good to go. At this point, what we'll then go ahead and do is navigate over to the top left hand side to play CSGO, go into the drop down menu for official matchmaking, switch this to workshop maps, navigate over to the config generator, select the config generator, hit go, and hit go once again. Once you guys boot into the game, you can select the other side, it doesn't matter which. The map is very simple and easy to use, simply go up to any of the options and shoot them to go inside of them. For the main wall found with inside of here, you can automatically apply any pro player configs or community member configs with inside of these tabs. So say if you wanted to set your game up like a professional player, go into the pro category by shooting it, select the team in which your pro player is playing for me I'm going to go with Fnatic, and once you find the player's config you wish to apply, you can set it just by shooting the player. As you can see, it automatically changes your view model, crosshair settings, radar, and other settings with inside of the game to match theirs. Once you guys are happy with the config you've gone with, or if you wish to set one up custom for yourself, you then go all the way back. At this point, if you wish to restore your config to how it was when you booted into the game, just simply go ahead and press restore, and that will restore all your settings back. You can then navigate over to the crosshair tab. With inside of here, once again, you can shoot any of these options to turn them higher or lower. You can shoot the color here to change your crosshair color instantly. Navigating over to view model, you can set your view model up fine with inside of there to adjust the FOV, and your HUD settings can be found with inside of here. You can change the color of your HUD. You can change the HUD scale and score position. At this point, you might have realized that the config in which we've installed actually has bullet tracers turned off. So when you shoot your gun, you can't actually see the bullets coming out of it. If you wish to turn those back on, it's very simple and easy to do. Open up the developer console by pressing the button above tab and underneath escape, which is the tilde key, and the command in which we're going to be inputting to change this can actually be found in the description down below if you wish to copy and paste it, or if you want to type it out, it's simply r_draw tracers first person, just like so, and you can press 1 on that, and that now enables the tracers to come out the end of your gun. I personally recommend having that turned off for a decent FPS increase. And another extremely important command to enable things such as AWP muzzle flashes and other gun flashes and enemy tracers, it's important that you actually open up the tilde key and type in r_dynamic, just like so, and setting this to 1. This will take away from your FPS quite drastically, so I wouldn't recommend doing it on medium end systems and below, especially in situations such as Mirage Mid. If the window is smoked and an AWP shoots through it, you'll usually see their muzzle flash through that, and you can then respond by shooting into that, and that will turn that off. So it can be a slight competitive disadvantage. I play roughly around about the Supreme to Global Elite level, and I've usually had it turned on, but for the last few weeks I've had it turned off and I haven't noticed much of a difference, and I'd personally rather have the added stability to the game and the increase in FPS. So you can set those options depending on how you wish to do them. At this point, once you guys have set up the config completely how you wish to keep it, all you simply then need to go ahead and do is simply press escape and quit to the main menu, and the config will automatically be saved. For another extremely quick and easy to apply optimization for most people using gaming mice, if your gaming mice has come with software such as Razer software, Corsair software, or if you're using a Glorious mouse, if the mouse has actually come with software in which you can open up, regardless of the make, search for the brand name in the bottom left hand side and find that mouse software. For me, I have a Glorious mouse, so I'm just simply going to be searching Glorious, and as you can see, the Glorious Model O software is there. If you guys are running on Razer software, simply open up the Razer software was installed when you installed your mouse. Once you guys are inside of the mouse software which might be installed, the layout could be completely different, but for most of you watching, you should have this option available to you. It might just be in a few different menus. So have a look around with inside of the menus and settings with inside of your mouse, and we're going to be looking for the option for polling rate. With inside of here, this will typically be able to be set all the way down to 125, and in most cases up to 1000. If you're not sure how to change this on your mouse, simply Google how to change the polling rate on, and then put in the mouse name you have. For most of you guys running on lower end systems, this will drastically help you increase your FPS, not just with inside of CSGO, but any game you play. If you're currently using 1000Hz or 500Hz on your mouse, which is the amount of times the mouse will be refreshed within a second, it's worthwhile that you turn this down. If you guys running on high-end systems but you've got a lot of stuttering with inside of games and micro stuttering, go from 1000Hz down to 500. I wouldn't really recommend going down to 125Hz unless you're running on a super old potato laptop. But come inside of here, enable these settings, see how it feels inside of the game, and you might notice an added smoothness and a decent decrease to any micro stuttering you might be experiencing. And then navigate with inside of the game and test them out. This now leads us on to the most important optimizations with inside of this entire video. Now if you guys have followed along with my previous FPS guides for CSGO, or if you've seen any of my other content, or if you've seen any of these tweaks in other guides before, make sure that you do come in here and double check that these are still applied, as the latest Windows update, which has literally just come out with inside of November as of making this video, would have reset most of these back to the default values, and you will have to come in and enable them again. So for these important optimizations, we can kick off with the most basic of the lot. That is actually your system power plan. Navigate into the bottom left hand side and search power space plan, just like so. Open up the option for edit power plan or choose power plan. Just as long as that has the battery with the cord going around it icon, doesn't matter what it says, click on any of the options. With inside of here, scroll up to the power options tab found here at the top, go down to the preferred power plans, go to show additional power plans, and we're going to be looking for the ultimate performance power plan. As you can see, my PC is actually defaulted back to the high performance power plan from the Windows update in which I just applied. What we're going to be looking for is actually the ultimate performance power plan, and this is a secret power plan in which can be enabled on any Windows 10 PC or laptop, regardless of the system specs. If you guys are running on Windows 10, you should be running this power plan. Simply minimize the power options, navigate inside of the FPS pack provided, and go into the command text document. With inside of here, simply highlight and select everything with inside of here, select copy, and exit out. At this point, navigate to the bottom left hand side, type in the CMD, right click on the command prompt, and make sure that you do run this as an administrator, because if you don't run this as an administrator, inputting this command will not be recognized and nothing will happen. Once you've booted it as an admin, simply take yourself into the top left hand side, press Ctrl and V on your keyboard, which should paste the command, and press enter. At that point, you should be seeing Power Scheme, GUID, Ultimate Performance. At that point, you can then go ahead and exit out. What we're then going to be doing from there is actually navigating back into the power options, going to the top right hand side to the refresh button, scroll all the way down with inside of here, and you should then be seeing the ultimate performance power plan for Windows. Simply then go ahead and navigate and just simply highlight the small tick box next to it, and that's now enabled the ultimate performance power plan with inside of your PC. Once again, anytime after any Windows updates that might be applied, just double check that you've actually re-enabled the ultimate performance power plan, as most of the time with Windows updates, this can be set back to a default value. And we can actually apply some piggyback optimizations to our newly selected power plan. For these, navigate inside of the FPS pack provided, go inside of the optimizations folder, and we can start off by going over to the QuickCPU setup. With inside of it, the setup wizard for QuickCPU will open up, and at the bottom side of your screen now you'll see an explanation and demonstration as to why you want this program installed and the benefits from doing so. What we're going to go ahead and do is press next, accept the terms, next, and install. After a few short moments, the program will be installed to your PC. Make sure that the launch option has been selected here at the bottom, and then press finish. We're then going to navigate to the top left hand side to the system power plan drop down menu and select the ultimate performance power plan which we set up earlier. If you guys are still running on balanced or high performance though and you selected one of those power plans instead, select that power plan. But for me and most people watching, you should be selecting ultimate performance. With inside of here, take yourself into the bottom left hand side, go to the core parking index, drag the slider and drag this up to 100%. Follow that up with going over to the frequency scaling index and once again, drag the slider up to 100%. And finally, last but not least, go to the turbo boost index if you have this option available. If you don't panic, it just means that your CPU isn't supported. But if you do see turbo boost, drag the slider once again to 100%. Once you guys have got all of those settings changed, go to the bottom right hand side and apply all of the changes. It'll then notify you that they've successfully been applied, press OK, and we can then exit out of the program as those optimizations have been completed. For some extremely effective and useful system maintenance, what we can do is actually navigate into the bottom left hand side, click on the Windows key and type in %temp% just like so and press enter. With inside of here, you'll then be brought into the Windows temporary folder, which is actually an excess dump for all the Windows programs and applications installed to it. So what we're going to do with inside of here is highlight and scroll all the way down to the bottom. You may have more folders and files with inside of here than I do, or you might have less. Once you've selected everything, right click and select delete. For any prompts that come up with inside of this, select do this for all current items and hit skip. Once you guys are done with inside of there, you might be left with some folders and files remaining with inside of here, and if you are, those are the only folders and files which were actually being used by Windows. Everything else was an excess dump file, caching file, and excess rubbish which your system didn't need on it. Once you guys are done with inside of there, exit out of the temp folder and empty the recycling bin. For the last and final optimization, it's very simple and easy to do. Navigate inside of the FPS increase pack provided one last time. Navigate with inside of the optimizations folder, and what we're going to be doing is actually dragging the Game Boost HD application with inside of here onto our desktop, and also the ISLC version 1021 onto our desktop as well. At this point, you're probably wondering what this program does and why you wish to have it installed to your PC. The ISLC program, or the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner, actually allows you to free up excess RAM in the background, regardless of your system specs or how much RAM you have installed. It aims to roughly keep around about half of your RAM open to reserve files in the background of your PC, meaning that you have a decent headroom and you're not running into any stuttering. Navigate inside of the programs folder, find the Intelligent Standby List Cleaner, and double click on the application. Once you guys have double clicked and opened up the application, you might notice that the application hasn't actually opened to the desktop. If this is the case, take yourself to the bottom left hand side, go to your icon tray and find the small display looking icon found here in the bottom right hand side and double click. With inside of here, your program may not have these options set up already, and I'm going to show you how to do them now. So for the first box, we're going to go to the list size at the top, and the first box we're going to be setting this to 1024 regardless of your system specs. For the second box, this is going to be set up uniquely to your system. So for this, what you're going to be doing is halving your total system RAM. For me, I have 16 gigabytes installed or 16,000 megabytes. To find yours, it will simply be here at the top under total system memory. If you have 16 gig installed, you'll see a similar number to this. If you have 8, it'll be around about 8,000. But whatever the number is found here at the top, roughly half that number and input it into the second box. So for me, that's going to be 8196. Then going to take yourself over to the right hand side to enable custom time resolution. Go to the wanted time resolution box, get rid of all values with inside of here and type in the value of 0.50. Use the delete key to remove anything off the end, and it should look just like that. At this point, we've then set up the program successfully. All you need to then go ahead and do is hit start, purge standby list here at the top, and minimize out of the program, and the program is running in the background. I recommend having the program running at all times whenever you're playing any games, whether it's CS or anything else. Assuming that we've now set up ISLC and we have it running in the background, all there is left to do now is to go over to Game Boost, double click on Game Boost. This won't actually open up anything, it will open up in the background, so don't expect anything to open, but once you've double clicked on it, you're good to go. And all there is left to do now is to actually navigate into Steam, go over to CSGO and hit play. And there you guys have it. That is the 2020 Ultimate FPS Increase Guide for CSGO. Make sure that you do stay up to date with the channel for updated videos or updated guides to the CSGO Ultimate FPS Increase Guide as and when they come out. And if you guys did enjoy this video and are happy with the results, please do remember to press the like button as it helps me out tremendously, alongside leaving your results, questions, queries, suggestions, or any other FPS tricks or tips in that comment section down below, as it is always fantastic to hear from you guys. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. Hopefully it's been more than worthwhile. I've been Panjno, and I'll see you in the next one.